Yes, your rats have arrived. And if you've made all your preparations properly with your teacher, they will be comfortable, happy, and ready to grow, with the list of supplies being shown here. And, of course, your expert care. Now, just in case you didn't have a chance to study more about the scientific method and what that has to do with choosing rats for this experiment, that is to say, rats that are litter mates, female, and laboratory bred, let's just take a quick review. If you could grow the same rat twice, grow it on one food formula, then take the rat back in time and do it all over again with a different food formula, you'd be able to pin down what makes for differences in growth more precisely. But since you can't do that, you try to get two rats as much alike as possible that would have the best chance of growing the same way. Then when you change one or more nutrients in the nutrient pattern, you know what causes differences in actual growth, appearance, and behavior. That's how litter mates fit into the idea of scientific method, into the concept of a controlled investigation, like your project is. Both rats are female, because females tend to grow alike, at the same rate. So even growth in rats of the same gender contributes to the element of control. Laboratory rats are chosen instead of pet store rats because it's easier to evaluate the results of a nutrition and growth project. The growth rates of laboratory rats are more reliable because they're specially bred for experimental purposes. Without this reliability, it would be difficult to say that you had a controlled investigation or experiment. After this presentation, you might want to see if your teacher can handle this kind of technical question. Just what is genetic or biological variability? And how does being laboratory bred satisfy any concerns researchers might have over all of that? Now, let's start your official observations of the rat's growth, appearance, and behavior. And here's how you do it. You can see a rat grow easily enough, but to know exactly how much a rat grows, you measure her tail. Using the control rat's solid mark, you measure from here each time, and you use the same spot on the treatment rat's tail too. Now, just why do you measure tails? Because a rat's tail doesn't change length just because you're holding it. You may find that her little body wiggles so much, you just can't seem to get an accurate measurement. But a little practice on the ruler will make it easy. Now, in a few minutes, you'll measure both rats, and those measurements, along with their weights, will be the starting point in observing and recording data for this nutrition study. Then you'll measure them again, 7 days from today. How much do you think the control rat will have grown, the one with the marked tail? And how big do you think the treatment rat will be? Next, if you wonder what exactly is meant when you talk about the rat's appearance, here are some clues to look for. Examine the skin and the fur, its color and texture, to see if it's changed and in what way. Observe the rat's development of muscles and strength. Is it becoming harder for you to hold on to them? And their overall size, are they visibly bigger? Or their claws, are they noticeably longer or thicker? Well, just like people, rats may behave in different ways too. They may energetically move around a lot or settle down a bit. But remember what we said earlier, that it's too early to formally conclude that a rat is nervous just because you see her move around a lot? So the word is, describe what you actually see, not what you'd like to see. However, rats do some things very much like people, like either having normal sleeping habits or becoming restless and sleepless. To notice these kinds of differences in behavior are part of your experiment. For example, your rats may have good appetites, or one or the other may become less active and show a disinterest in food. Okay, now let's get ready to measure and weigh the rats. How do you hold a rat? Like this. Palm over the back, fingers curled under the tummy, with one finger between the front legs and her chin under the neck. Then put the other hand beneath for safety. Now, be sensitive to your rat's problems. You're a stranger to your rats. Give them a chance to know you, your hands, and to relax. One precaution: don't tease your rats by poking at them with fingers or pencils or anything. When they get scared, they jump and try one of their famous escapes. So gently but firmly hold them or put them in a box for tail measuring.
How much they
Oh, one more thing. Double check your gram scale and rat weighing box before you weigh the rats, so that from the reading on the scale, you can determine only what the rats weigh.
Ooh, that
Your
did
teacher
drop
will
in
explain
there.
how that's
So
done.
let's pull that one off. And
Now you have all week to guess what their weights and lengths will be 7 days from now. But the question is, why will they be bigger by some certain amount? You might ask your teacher for some ideas about the vitamins and the other nutrients your rats are eating, and the role they play in your rat's growth. Also, remember that your rats like a clean cage every day with shredded paper, and remember, no newspapers. Remember the feeding schedule, and how much should you give your rats? Well, fill the baby food jars. How often should the food be changed? Well, for milk, twice a day, and oatmeal, once a day. Finally, make your observations and record them faithfully, even if the changes are not noticeable. In the end, you'll need them to understand what actually happened to your rats, both your rats, and not to have to depend on somebody else's experiment or some textbook case.
We will be weighing and measuring the rats. So I'll go
Oh,
off the
teacher,
thing.
will you turn me off now while the kids do their thing, measuring and weighing the control rat and the treatment rat, and marking the tail? And make sure all the data has been properly recorded on each rat's chart. Well, rats, bon appetit, and here come the kids.